Hello, I am PamelaTopjian, and I am the author of two books that I have self-published, and they're both memoirs of sorts. So when I first decided to publish my first book, I reached out to some people that I knew were authors, and I looked on social media, of course, and I reached out to some people asking for tips, for advice, information, anything to help, because I felt so alone in trying to find information without being, somebody trying to sell me something. So I was a little surprised by that there wasn't much in the way of, just, I'm not going to say help as much as just somebody willing to give advice, even. So I wanted to do that for you guys today. So I did do another video on my books, and it was more about my writing process, why I wrote my books, and what the books were about. And I don't want this to be anything about my books. I want it to be about my experience. So um, I never wanted to, I wasn't trying to make this a new career or a side hustle even, or to try to make any money. I wasn't trying to be a best-selling author or anything like that. So depending on your reasons for writing, for wanting to write a book and for wanting to publish a book or several books, whatever you want to do, it may vary and may differ a little from what I have to say. But I'm just going to share what I learned and what I know just from my experience. And then also, I have become sort of more friends, just like online friends with other authors and that. So I have since learned more other than just my own experience. So I chose to self-publish rather than publish traditionally because I didn't want to take the time and the effort and to get all the rejections. I just had a story to put out there and I wanted it to be in my own words. I didn't want it to necessarily ever be something that was going to be highly popular or a bestseller, as I said, or anything like that. I had a story to tell. I thought it would be inspiring to people, and I thought it would help people to feel like they're not alone in what they're going through, and to also know, to have some hope, to know that it can get better. So I wanted it out there pretty quickly. It had taken 5 years to write that first book, and I wanted it to get it out there quickly. I wanted it to be in my own words. I think I said that already, but I wanted it to be in my own words because I write like I talk and I write almost like a journal. So it started out like just journaling almost, and um so I wanted it to stay in my own words, but I still wanted it to make sense and to kind of flow well for the reader. And so with that, you want to get other people to read your book. Wait just a minute. So let's go back to publishing. Um, so with traditional publishing, you have to send in your manuscript. You have to send in, I guess, you're querying. I don't know how to say that. You send in your query. Um, I don't know anything about that. I have just seen people talk about that who are trying to get signed on with a publishing company. So it just takes a lot of time. And like I said, I think it took 5 years to write my book. It just took a lot of time for people to get their book published traditionally. One of the problems is a lot of rejections, and people end up having to change a lot of what they wrote. So I didn't want that to happen. So um, there's quite a few different self-publishing programs and services out there. I used KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing. That's Amazon's service. It's not just Kindle. Don't let the name fool you. You can use KDP for a paperback and for hardcover or just Kindle, or even to have your book on Kindle Unlimited. So you have a lot of choices using that one. And the website, I found the website to be very helpful. So anytime I had a question, I just went through and, read different areas or went through the frequently asked questions or just, into the area that I had a question about and read it again because I had read it all before. And then you go back and, um, something didn't make sense, or as you're doing something that didn't quite work out, then you can go back and find what you're looking for. So I really liked KDP. Also, Apple Books, Barnes and Noble, and Kobo. I don't know if it's Kobo or Cabo, but all of those are free. So that's really awesome. And that's another thing. I didn't want to spend a lot of money. I didn't have a lot of money to spend at that time. I just wanted to get my book out there. And so that's why I went with self-publishing. So one of the things you'll find is there is some, I don't know if prejudice is the right word, but with people who have published books traditionally, certainly not all, but many of them look down upon self-publishers. And one of the reasons they say is because there's a lot of junk out there. And I'm going to say that, well, first of all, there's this whole thing about, you have to work hard, you have to earn it, you have to go through the rejections and everything. I don't agree with that, obviously, but there's a lot of junk out there in traditionally published books as well. And you just let the buyer or the reader decide, your book, whether self-published or traditionally published, is going to, you know, get more readers or not, depending on the quality, that you wrote. So regardless of if it's self-published or not. So let the junk be out there. It's going to fall to the wayside because it's, if it's no good, it's no good. And, look at the cereal aisle. There's so much out there and a lot of it is junk, but there is some good stuff. So, so I'm going back to, how to make your book better as far as when you're self-publishing. So regardless of self-publishing or traditional publishing, you want to get eyes on your book before you publish. So there are beta readers, testing readers, however you want to call it, people that are going to read your book. So one of the problems or one thing that I would suggest is to have, if you're just asking friends and family or asking on social media or anything, just putting it out there that you want people to read your book and to get not positive feedback, to get honest feedback, and tell them what you're looking for. It's not just for me, it wasn't just spelling and grammar because that would be, I thought in the beginning that would be flushed out through the different programs you put it through to look for those errors. But you want people that are readers because they're used to reading, and ask them, is there anything in here that when you read it, you had to read again because it didn't really make sense to you? Or was there anything in here that felt like I went on too long on the same thing, that you wanted to skip through it because like I already said the same thing, in a different way a couple times, or you needed more information. Like I read this, this paragraph, and then you went on to something else, and I still wasn't sure of what was going on in that first paragraph. So you want it to flow nicely. You want it to be good for readers to enjoy what they're reading. And when you are looking for beta testers or just people to read your book, not only make sure that they're already readers, but ask them what genre they usually read in. If you have somebody that is used to and really enjoys a good fantasy book and you wrote a memoir, they might not be the person to read it. And also, if you have people that are close to you and they've been on this journey, they know you're trying to write a book, because usually by the time we get to that point, we've talked about it a lot. So, um, make sure it's somebody that's going to be really painfully honest with you. If they want to just make you feel good and congratulate you on getting it done and doing the work, you really don't want that person. You want somebody that's going to be just completely candid, open, and honest with you. So, yeah, so you can get people, like I said, either on social media or even like I think Reddit has different subreddits for all kinds of things to do with publishing and writing and reading and just even YouTube has not people to read your book on YouTube, but um, YouTube is going to have tutorials on self-publishing and what you need to go through for traditional publishing. And one thing I would say about looking at YouTube videos is they're going to, those self-publishing websites and services, a lot of times things change every year as far as what they offer, if there's any cost, how much they do, how much you need to do. A lot of that changes a lot of the times year by year. So when you're looking at something through YouTube, make sure that it's, within the year. So let's see. So somebody had asked too I think I already addressed that. Oh, so another thing somebody was asking about how to know, I think I addressed that too, how to know what genre or niche to write in. Um, so you want to write in whatever you like reading and whatever is inside of you, whatever you like to write, whatever you like to read, whatever you're passionate about. What story do you want to tell? If you write a memoir, it does not have to be, sometimes it's sort of like, you know, I don't want that part of my life in there. Or can I use, should I not say this because of whatever reason? Um, you don't have to put absolutely your whole life in there. Um, you can leave out parts that, you don't want in there. You can, um, make sure that, you can even just a part of your life is still considered memoir. So, like my second book is about my nursing career. Of course, in my first book, there's a little bit of that in there because it was a big part of my life. But the second book is all about the nursing career. And that's considered a memoir still, even though it's just about one part of my life. But as far as writing a fantasy book, romance books, horror books, whatever it is, what do you like to read? What do you like to write? What is, within you? Do you have stories in you that you feel like you can, write those out? So I wouldn't suggest going with what's trending. I wouldn't suggest even going with what's selling. If you want to be somebody that is, a career change eventually, making money from your books, hopefully getting them to, top sellers, or, trying to make this, a big part of who you are as an author and just changing that up from whatever you're doing now, and write several books and just continue writing through the rest of your life. Don't feel like whatever you start with, if you start in one niche or one genre, you don't have to stay there. If you've written, a series or you have, if you're thinking of writing a book and you want to write in a certain genre, you must have something in mind already or started probably. So go with that and go with that. And then as you, hone in and, start to do better, because the more you write, you can't help but to get better. So you can change that, think of, music artists or any kind of artist, they don't always have to stick with the one genre or niche that they started in. Um, so just, don't stress about that too much. And I think if you write what you're passionate about, if you write what you like reading, if you write, the stories that are in you, I think you're going to do well because you have to have that passion, you know. So of course, like you can go on, I never remember the names of it. I don't know if it's Fiverr or whatever that is, but where you hire people that are, um, people that do work for you, people that do freelance work. So you can hire editors through there, or you can hire people to do your book cover. You can even hire a ghostwriter. I don't know anything about that. I did work with somebody. I did find an editor there. I did find, I did sort of collaborate with somebody on the book cover. So I had the book cover mostly done through Canva, on both of my books. The second book, I wanted to use my own image, but the design I got through Canva, but I changed it up quite a bit. So I just started with Canva. If you don't know Canva, look it up. There's so much you can do with Canva. And I started with Canva, and then I hired someone to help me make that, to hone that into more of what I wanted and adding my own image on there. So there's so many different ways to do that as well. And even so with KDP, they also have kind of generic, you can go through them and do the book cover as well. So let's see. So yeah, so when I wrote the book, both of the books, editing is a nightmare. Editing is so tedious. So I don't suggest that write a little bit and edit it, write it a little bit and edit, write and edit, because you're never going to get done. There's always going to be changes that you can make. If you want to do just edit, like do a chapter or get through one part of it, that might be a good place to end. Then you might want to go back and edit. But I suggest like leaving it and then coming back and then editing, what you already wrote, whenever it was. So I suggest leaving it and coming back to it with fresh eyes. Definitely read it out loud. It sounds a little strange, but you would be surprised at what you miss reading without reading it out loud. You read something out loud, you can hear, you might not even recognize it on the written page, but you can hear that something's not right there. So, yeah. So definitely read it out loud. Get people to beta read it for you. Make sure they're going to be honest with you. There are no rules to writing, contrary to popular belief. You don't have to write every day. You don't have to have a goal of certain word count, every time you write. You don't have to, you don't have to do it one way. You don't have to, like I said, you don't have to stay in your niche or in your genre. You don't have to, you can do books in your own name and you can have a pen name for others. Um, there's not the rules that a lot of really, a lot of writers will tell you there's rules, but what works for them might not work for you. And maybe you are somebody that needs those rules, that needs sort of that more structure and more organization to get it done. For me, the things that I was writing was kind of hard to write. And I didn't have a goal of, I need to get this out and published by this date. But once I decided to publish, it kind of changed my writing because I was first writing just for myself and just getting it out of me as part of therapy kind of. But there's more about that in that other video, and I'll actually put that link in the description or in the description or maybe in the comments below. But anyway, So I would sometimes leave it. Like if I wrote a bunch, I was on a roll and I just wrote a bunch. And then I got to a point that I couldn't remember. I wasn't sure how I wanted to word something. So I would put asterisks and space, and that showed me I need to come back there. There's more I need to add there. And then I would go on. But also, I would walk away, and sometimes, I wouldn't write again for, weeks or even months. And I would come back to it when I felt ready or when things became more clear. And yeah, so I'm hoping that this is helping. Let me see. I have some notes up here that I'm looking at. So I think that that's about it. So as far as marketing, um, for me, the books that I wrote, I didn't want to have my mother read. And so there were certain people in the family I didn't want to even know that I wrote books, mainly because, it would make her feel bad and she didn't need that. At this point in her life, she doesn't need that at all. Um, so I didn't do a lot of marketing on social media. So once, I think that, you can pay to have, I know with KDP anyway, and I'm not sure about the others, but you can pay to have them do more marketing for you or, boosting it sort of or sponsoring it to have it be seen more in the websites. And for me, I've just posted a few times with limited, who could see it. And of course, there's word of mouth. Like there's people that have bought my book and have written reviews that I don't know who they are. And that's awesome. I don't know even how they found it, but that's awesome. I think somebody did tell me, a friend that read it did tell me that they were suggesting it out to other people. So that was nice too. So, so yeah. So I hope that this has been helpful. I feel like I kind of rambled on, but I hope that I gave some information that would be helpful to people that are thinking about writing a book or who have written a book and not sure what to do from here. Um, yeah, so if there's anything else, any questions, please ask them in the comments and I'll look back, of course. This is a small channel right now, so it's not going to be, it's not too hard to look back and answer anything that's down there. So, yeah, I hope this has helped. And I want to thank you for checking it out and let me know if there's anything that that you want to know from my experience or anything that was helpful to you. So yeah, please let me know. Thanks. Bye.